Okay, so a new update here on the search for this man or woman, or I guess I shouldn't try to figure out a gender or anything in a modern day. Let's just say that this entity that's known as Rae Sist, and we've been looking for it. Now, of course, my wife at the end of our last discussion interrupted and thought that I might have something whenever I was talking about that his last name here, Cyst, might actually be spelled, although it still sounds the same, as Sist. Cursory looks into that, like it may pan out to be something or not. I don't know. We'll just have to look into that more, but yeah, we'll just go on. Now, in my research here, all of a sudden I found a few leads I was talking about last time, and a couple came from this Sist type of spelling. I found a guy in the phone book, and his name was Ray Cyst. So I gave him a call and I asked him if he was racist, and he said that he was, and seemed rather cordial and everything. So then I was rather excited, and I asked him if he was actually the Rae Sist that people talk about, and he got real mad and hung up on me. I tried to call back to ask him if I could, because I recorded it, to show on the video here and everything, but I can't get any response from him whatsoever. But I do still have the number, and I'm thinking that that might be a lead. So we'll see how that pans out. Something separate, but also something real strange here. It's kind of this, I don't know, see if you can help me figure it out. Because they were also saying now, all of a sudden, that just everything is Rae Sist. Everything. No matter which way you look at it or anything, is apparently caused by this guy. Now, I don't know if this is the controller of the Matrix or whatever it goes on, or if this is Yahweh's secret name here or something crap like that, guys. I mean, it could get strange here. But recently I've just found out that, now hold on to your seats here, that water is racist. So I don't know how to take that, because it seems like it's supposed to be a person, and everybody keeps pointing at people and saying it, but then all of a sudden, water is racist. So, I mean, this is confusing as hell. So I looked into it, and the idea was that most people can swim, but there's one group of people that are not known for swimming and have a lot of drownings and things, and therefore they have declared that water is, I guess, made by Rae Sist. So that's where you get the idea of Yahweh too from, because, you know, God created the whole thing and he hovers over the waters and da-da-da. So this has to be, when he hovered over those waters, that guy, that was Ray, apparently. Okay, so I mean, this gets strange. Okay, so I mean, the Bible connections here all of a sudden, it's possible. It's possible. But also the fact that it rains some places and it doesn't others, and then there are people going through drought, that is somehow caused by this guy. And there's this systemic form that just makes the sky act different. Yeah, and a lot of people are trying to say that it's white people because they know how to fly and control the sky or whatever, something like that. And so it comes across as kind of weird. I mean, just some third world people look at things quite strange. I mean, the logic hits you, kind of makes Spock raise an eyebrow, you know what I'm saying? So rain, or the lack of it also, of course, that's water, so we have that effect. But also just farming, which is a byproduct of being able to, you know, do all this and know the seasons and everything. This is even somewhat looked as this Ray guy. In fact, this Ray guy used to apparently be in Africa feeding all the locals that are recent primitives there and weren't real good at it. And then they kicked them all out because they said they were this guy. And now they've invited them back. They realized that they were wrong and they invited them all back. But not many are coming back because of all these things that happened. So there's quite often apparently a misunderstanding on this whole idea on who this Ray character is. And again, as I said before, I have found that females are quite often also pointed out. So it's not even with the name Ray, you always go, oh, that's a male and it's men and you know, but no, actually it's something showed quite different. Now, not only but water and air, okay, air because of this flying effect. And I've heard it, you know, somebody even gave a list. It was like they use scuba equipment, which puts air into canisters, and now you can breathe underwater. And because people invented all these things. In fact, I heard that, you know, inventing and the fact that people invented most of the things that you have around you now is actually supposed to have been all invented by this guy, this Ray character. So he's an inventor. And so as you get so much of this guy and you find him out, and the fact that he apparently can morph between people and all kinds of things, this could be that Yahweh character, which is just a fake name because he didn't want to give his name. Imagine if in the Bible, and whenever Moses asked him, he's got to give a name to these people, instead of just saying, I am what I am, he turned around and he said that he was Rae Sist. Now, some other people have looked at the Bible and they say because the Bible only talks about one people and doesn't talk about Eskimos or Amerindians or black people or anything like that at all, that of course that's Rae Sist too, but every people had their own religions and stuff, so it's probably just out of jealousy or something that we get that type of problem, or at least a lot of other people have pointed that out, and they said that trying to point that out was actually this Ray character talking. So it's not necessarily about race at all. In fact, like I said in the last video, it looks like black people can be implemented a lot also through this whole thing. But there's this version that they talk about of systemic, right? To where Rae Sist, so it's got that cyst before and after, which is kind of like a I am what I am kind of thing, right? So people have made that connection that maybe that in some language that we don't understand anymore actually means that same type of phrase. Isn't that odd? So, you know, I am what I am. I mean, what the hell? So this can be quite telling, all these things that you find out about this, but this cyst type thing too, and this systemic. Now I found that there's this thing called, you leave the T off of it, okay? Like some linguists have a S or a SH sound where you leave the H off, like Shemitic or Semitic, you get that? You leave that T off the end, and it becomes cis. And I have found that it seems like a large percentage of the people going around and pointing at everything and saying it's racist, this Ray character, are actually hooked up with this cis kind of thing, right? And also people that are sus, so they're cis and sus. And then you'll find that most of these people with all this lingo and all this stuff going on are now, wait for it, they all have weird multicolored hair that's not natural in nature. Not just red hair, I'm talking about just any color of the rainbow. In fact, quite often they're attached to these people too. Yeah, it's just weird. And so you'll find that this Ray guy is not one certain ethnicity at all or something. It seems that it could be anywhere. In fact, like I said, the purple-headed girl said that that it's everywhere, and almost like a just give up on it, or effectively, oh, we all know it and all this type of stuff, like it was old. like she knew all about Ray. So I tried to ask her, and she just never replied back. I'm sure somebody knows something about this, and if y'all do, you can put a post, down below, definitely. So there's this other thing that I found, and it's kind of weird, but check this idea out. Now, math. It said math is racist. Why is that? Well, all the numbers that we use, in fact, time itself and so on, but all the numbers that we used were all declined out of sacred geometry figured out by Caucasians a long time ago. And they developed math. Like, wait, even the old Sumerians had this trigonometry going on, counting up extremely large numbers. That King's List comes to a 432,000, and that actually hooks up with the measurement and the distance of the sun and all these things that they had apparently all figured out that we didn't even know until recently. It's quite amazing, but they had all these different types of math, and of course the Egyptians, and then the circumference of the earth is figured into their pyramids and so on. That Caucasian Egyptians there with their blue eyes also, and the Sumerians you'll find that in too, which I found out, by the way, just a side note here, that if you mention that they were Caucasians or that they had blue eyes for some reason, you are now suddenly magically turned into Yahweh, the Ray Cyst here, that Ray guy. Just knowing the truth of something can make you Ray. So you have to be careful nowadays, but then again, the way the girl was talking about it, it's kind of like a... So I don't know. Somebody made the comment, it's like crying wolf and a bunch of BS, and what else did they say? Oh yeah, whenever you start saying about everything, it's all lost its power and there's really nothing to it anymore. And I'm like, nothing to it? This Ray guy apparently is everywhere, and some people are real concerned and trying to point at everybody, like if it was a invasion of the body snatchers moving from body to body and nobody knew who the guy that was the thing, and they want to run around and point at people. It's kind of odd. But math. Now, so math is an abstract thing and not even a person. Okay? I want you to just set that aside on its shelf, but that's been called out along with another inanimate object, water. But water does so many things. And I started thinking about erosion and the rain and everything, and that led me to the deal. So then I started saying, well, how deep does this go? I mean, what else is it that go? And then come to find out, not just math or water and a lot of other things that are mentioned, but there's this huge list. But one of the big ones on there that's I can't quite wrap around my head around it. And I'm trying to use this actual stuff to figure it out. And so maybe that's a problem, because it's Ray. And this thing that we all know and use and surrounds us, and almost like the Force, I mean, it's got that effect on us, but it's Ray, is science. Yes, they now are saying, some people are saying that science is actually racist because it was brought about. I think the problem with this one was that it's from one people, and that if some other people, they would probably get totally different results. Although the heralds of civilization seem to be spacemen, and so I'm looking at the versions of people that could have pulled it off. It looks like it's in the right hands and everything, but I was told that if you mention that, because I did in a post back to someone, that was actually this Ray guy, and they thought that I was Ray again. So I'm not sure what color hair that person had or not to be able to figure that into the equation or not, but I'm certain that I've never been Ray. But I wonder if it's supposed to be something like that. People believed in demons and stuff, and you get taken over by a demon or the devil, or no, wait, Yahweh, and it takes over for a minute, and it makes you speak all of a sudden, and you'll say something that's truth that you're not supposed to say in a modern day. This is 2021, by the way. I'm not sure when you're watching this, so this is what we're dealing with here, trying to figure this out. And one day soon, hopefully, humanity will figure it out here, this thing here that's gone. Because not only that, but even games and sports have been deemed as Ray. I'll probably have to do a separate video on that. But it's amazing. It has to do with things like certain people aren't used to Winter Olympics, and other people can't quite run as fast as another, and then all of a sudden they said that they were the everything in the world because of that. Out of a few events out of the thousands, and of course Winter and Summer Olympics, and then someone pointed out that, yeah, well, what about swimming and archery and all these other things? And so it got to be a mess. But I found out that if you pointed out those other things, that person that was pointing it out suddenly became Ray. So here's an idea that I have. Now I'm looking into this just like I am my wife's idea on the spelling situation that we could have wrong here. Because there's a lot of different spellings. We learned that through Proto-Indo-European linguistics and so on, and how that works. So, but here's a new concept. It's kind of strange. Here's the idea that maybe this is just, like they say that Antifa and everything is really just an idea. But hold on, stick with me for a second. That maybe this is just an idea, and it's a secret hate word to try to use against someone else whenever reality is not working out the way that you want to. At least in some of the situations it looks like this pans out. In other ones it looks crazy. And then there's that whole Yahweh take you over thing, guys, and nobody wants to start inducing space aliens into this, but I have heard that Ray and Ray Gun, and you see this connection with Ray Guns and Ronald Ray Gun, okay? I mean, are you with me here? If you are, then you're not Ray, you're Derp. Yeah, so it's different. We'll have to do a separate video series on Derp, because it's a little different. It's not as intellectual as this, which also this has now been deemed as baby talk, immature, and jealousy, which is weird. But it may just be an idea. And like they tried to say about Antifa, this one might actually just be a bunch of bullshit, when Antifa has been in people's faces. So, I forgot to mention that if you try to mention anything about that, then they, of course, call you this Ray. This is where you get this secret word from. I found there's a few secret words, and that people can't use anymore, and you don't even know about it. A lot of people don't know about it. There's this N word that no one can use except for black people. Yeah, but then they go around calling themselves all the time. But when I looked into this, and it's supposed to mean something real bad, but it really just means the color black. And because they're black people, it really just doesn't make any sense. But they go around calling themselves it, but they say it was so terrible. But then they do that, and it's like they've got this secret word. Now, someone else said that whole concept is brought to the world by this Ray guy, apparently. And he's got something to do with cisgender or something here. I'm on it, people. He's got something to do with this cis thing. And so, I don't know what color Ray's hair was, but apparently it was like rainbow. Well, like Joseph in a coat of many colors. This Ray may have had multicolored hair back in the day. It's just a lead that I'm going on, but I've got a pin in it, wrote a sticky about it, stick it on it. So I'll get back with you more on this, more to come. But again, water, math, science. I mean, if you've heard of anything else, let me know down below, because just a few connections like we've done in all my other videos, and we can figure out who Ray was or is. Help me help you. Peace.